Hey guys, AuspiciousAussie here, and welcome to episode 6 of our Local to Global here with the Canadian Wrestling Coalition. Now, I've been doing a lot of digging. So, for those of you that have commented about the whole popularity increase issue that we've been having, I have essentially read through the entire manual, and I think I've figured out exactly what it is. Now, basically, when it comes to popularity or size, for example, if we go into obviously popularity here, well, this is not the one that we need to look at, but we go down to options down the bottom here somewhere if I can find it. Where is options? Or am I just blanking out? All right, there's options. So essentially what it is and what our problem has been is our natural growth limit. Now, as you can see, there are ceilings on popularity growth. Now, obviously, I think back on 2016, I don't think there was a ceiling to your popularity growth. As you can see, it's created in relation to how many people are watching the show in each region, and it's designed to stop the situation where a company could run a great show in their home arena and gain large amounts of popularity everywhere else. Obviously, that's not exactly focused 100% on what we're talking about. But basically what it means is for a company of our size being insignificant, we, in theory, would not be running as many shows as we have, and there is a certain amount of popularity that we can actually gain per month. Now, what has been happening is, obviously, we've been essentially running, 5 shows a month. We've got our weekly show here, and then, of course, it's essentially like a normal schedule, we'll say, for example. However, it's not going to work for a company of our size. Obviously, if you're a local company, you would realistically be putting on probably 1 show per month. Now, obviously, I didn't want to do it that way because, we're doing a YouTube series and we want things to be a little bit sped up and, progressing through. At least this first year, we want to try and get as much, well, I wanted to get as much growth as possible. Now, what that means is, from now on, I think, from what I've said in the last couple of episodes, is the fact that every 3 shows we seem to be gaining popularity, and then for the other 2 we didn't. So what I'm assuming we should do is to essentially get rid of... We can make Coalition Wrestling a monthly instead of a weekly schedule show. Have it in week 1 seems fine. And then what we can do is we can actually use True Test and essentially make that our second monthly show. So if we do it that way, we have two separate shows for the monthly shows, and then of course each month we have another special sort of pay-per-view, if you will, our sort of big event. Obviously in July we have Warzone Night 1 and Warzone Night 2. Should be a little bit different, and obviously that is coming up in about 2 months. So it's going to be interesting. Either way, from now on, we hopefully will sort of be maximizing the popularity growth and sort of minimizing the finances that we're losing. Because as you can see, we're essentially $15,000 in debt at the moment. And, we're losing quite a bit. Anyway, as you can tell by the title of this episode, we are going to be overhauling the roster. However, we are going to do our next show first. And there is a very good reason for that. So we're going to do one last show with our 20... Was it 20? Or was it under 20? It might have even been under 20% backstage locker room morale. And hopefully... I don't know if it's actually going to work. I should have maybe tested it off camera to see if our backstage rating would rise from us firing essentially all of our workers and going back to scratch. Very curious to see what happens, to say the least. But it should be a good episode, because we're going to hire a lot of people. We're also going to hire people and pay for travel, because honestly, I want to just use the people that I want to use. And I think if we're able to do that, we can prevent ourselves from getting negative influences into the company, which is obviously going to solve another problem. But, you know, I'll get the guys that I want. We'll essentially be able to start building them to where I want them to be. Because a lot of them are going to be younger, sort of up-and-coming superstars that are on sort of the, you know, essentially they're not signed by the big companies. I have, you know, mentioned a few of them before. Primetime, Jack Pride comes to mind as sort of the first real guy that needs a lot of work. He does need a lot of work, but he does have a tremendous upside. So there's a lot of stuff we need to do. But I'm looking forward to it, if I'm being perfectly honest. Now that I've kind of hopefully we've sorted everything out in regards to the popularity gain. And of course, we do have free tickets now as well. So we will essentially be getting as much popularity per show that we can possibly be getting at this time, I guess. Like I said, we probably will go back to a normal pricing for tickets. But that is once we do gain, I'm thinking about 15 popularity in my mind. That should be enough. Then we go back to running normal ticket prices, and then hopefully from that we will actually be able to make our money back and be in a decent enough position. And we got some more backstage incidents here. Let's fire Crusher. I mean, it's actually a positive impact on Canadian Crusher there. And we also get Marcel with a bit of a knock-on effect as well. And I guess we may as well fire Murray as well. And he's actually improved his behavior, so he's also now got a simmering tension, but there we go. Oh, he's actually got a strong dislike with Virgil Voss. But there's two guys out. So we don't have to really worry about them two all that much right now. But let's book this event, because like I said, it is essentially going to be the final event with most of this same roster. So we're going to have a big title match. We're going to have Marcel taking on Americana Jr. here for the CWC World title. We will get a possible penalty for having this match run 4 times. But that's perfectly fine. Other matches, let's go for Topher and Taylor Kidd. Like I said, I mean, it really doesn't even matter who wins these matches from now on, because we are literally going to be letting go just about everybody from our roster. There is maybe 1 or 2 people that will be staying. So, like I said, if you've gotten, you know, attached to any of these guys, I do apologize, but, I mean, we got to do what we got to do, and we need to revamp the roster and get ourselves into a much better position. I've sort of let things spiral out of control. Anyway, Marcel and Americana will have an angle together as well. We'll go non-scripted before the main event. And we want it to advance our world title, the world title storyline. And then I guess to open the show as well. Actually, let's go Topher. Topher was our first world champion. He's probably going to be let go as well. So let's give him a nice little angle there. We'll make this a work the crowd match as it's going on first. And then the Topher match can obviously be a storytelling one, where Topher is essentially trying to fight for his career. Anyway, Total Eclipse number 1. Let's get into it. Alright, so we start the show off with a 32 rated match where we have Camicazi defeating Captain Canada in just over 12 minutes by pinfall with a reverse 450 splash. Really good in-ring performance there from Camicazi. He is kind of one that I would like to keep, but I don't think we can. We then go into a 44 rated angle from Topher Smith, which is pretty impressive. I'm not going to lie, I didn't think it would be that good. from our first ever world champion. We then go into a 33 rated match for him where he defeats Taylor Kidd in 12:09 by pinfall with a gopher suicide dive. Also seemed off his game. We then go into a 42 rated angle where we have Marcel and Americana going back and forth prior to the main event. And of course, Marcel improvising well throughout the segment. And the main event of Total Eclipse getting a 44 where we have Americana Jr. defeating Marcel Lafleur in 1950 by pinfall with an American Crush. And Americana Jr. wins the CWC World title. Yeah, dethrones Marcel, and as you can probably expect, and you knew it was going to be coming, but Marcel has to go. He's got to go. Once again, we didn't get any popularity changes. So frustrating to see that, it really is, because we got a 41, and it definitely should be good enough to be, increasing our popularity. But like I said, there is a cap. Now, we can turn the cap off, but I don't think that's exactly playing too realistically, and I wanted to keep this series pretty bare bones. Anyway, let's just praise Americana. Let's praise Camicazi there as well, and Topher. Because they are the three that I would like to keep, in theory. But we're probably only allowed to keep maybe one, probably two, I would say. So it's going to be tough. And obviously Americana is going to be staying. He's now our world champion, so... Alright, so Virgil Voss has actually walked out on us. He's been extremely unhappy, so that's perfect. One person we don't have to get rid of. Alright, let's figure out what else we need to do, because also our referee, Gregory Chapman, is upset as well. He's got morale issues. We might go for another referee as well. We'll have to wait and see. Unfortunately, we do have Coalition Wrestling in 3 days. So that's going to be a bit of a problem. What I can do, let's do this instead. So let's change... True Test is going to be in week 3. And then we'll make Coalition Wrestling in week 2. And essentially what that'll do is give us a little bit of time to change this whole roster around. Alright. Yeah, I don't know who we're going to keep. It really is a tough one. Alright, Captain Canada, going to be released straight away. Jason Van Pelt, unfortunately, I mean, he's on 100 per week as well, or 100 per appearance. Camicazi will keep for a second here. We'll get rid of Marcel. It would be really good to maybe job his popularity out a little bit further. But, yeah, we just can't do it. Can't keep him around. If we're going to be serious about this, we need to essentially get rid of everybody. And essentially go from scratch. Now, Camicazi's on 85 per appearance. And Topher is on 128 per appearance. Which is obviously a lot higher than both Camicazi and Americana. So I think we're going to be getting rid of Topher. I do like Topher, and like I said, he was our first ever world champion, so that's done a little bit there. It's done a little bit. Let's have a look at the size as well. Obviously, we're still at 7, which is what we were at the start of last episode. But let's have a look at backstage. So it's gone up to a 40. It's gone up to 40. But as you can see, these three still are mildly negative influences. That is purely for the fact they have morale issues. I think if it goes to minor morale issues, they might not be a negative influence backstage. I'm not 100% sure, but I think because they actually have, the medium level of morale issue, I think that does cause them to be negative backstage. All right. Anyway, with that said, let's do some stuff. So I want to go 24 years old, min-age, can work in Canada, 2 higher. Obviously males, because that's essentially what we're going for at the moment. And They don't need to be based anywhere. So there we go. Now, if I go through here, there are a few guys that do obviously stand out. This guy is one of them, Brett Kyle. He seems like a very talented high flyer, and that's, you know, it's essentially what we've got at the moment as well. Really good stamina, athleticism, pretty good on the mic, really good sex appeal, good charisma. Like I said, could be better on the mic, but he's going to be good enough, at least for the start. He's a babyface. He's also got a relaxed personality, so I think getting him in would be pretty beneficial because I don't think he's going to be a negative influence. He's also a member of a tag team, so we could essentially bring in Taylor Norton as well. And if we have a look at his price, it's only going to be $30 per show. But again, we are going to have to pay for travel. Now, I'm not sure how much travel costs actually are, so it might not be a massive factor anyway. But I think, actually, before I go for him, let's go for the real standouts. So let me put him on the shortlist. There we go. What about Charlie Corner? He looks pretty good. But I'm just wondering, would he be negative backstage? I feel like he would be negative backstage. He's irrepressible and a motor mouth. Might not make people too happy. Irrepressible, I don't think is a very good personality. Chauncey Grenier. Never actually seen this guy. He must have just come into the game. Got a very interesting, is that cornrows? Cornrolls, whatever they're called. I mean, he's not very good, so we'll kind of ignore him for now. What about Clark? Is Clark any good? Clark is relatively good as well. I know Chuck Casey is very good. Oh, actually, maybe it's his tag team partner. Yeah, anyway. Let's go down a little bit more. What about Dead Man Walking? Interesting. I probably should have looked at a few more people. But we actually have another... Wow. He's very good on the microphone. It's unpredictable, though. Unpredictable personality here from Elliot Laurent, who is another new worker. We've got Eureka LaBelle. Nothing too outstanding. I mean, Hammer Hadley does look good, but he's got a prickly personality as well. Now, James Diaz, I mentioned him many times. He was signed to my BCG series. We're definitely going to get him in, purely for the fact that I want to essentially see what he can do, because he is really quite good. He is better as a heel. He's also quite a large wrestler as well. I think he's a heavyweight. Yeah, muscular heavyweight. So there we go. All right, we've got Jason Patterson here. Stalwart personality. Juggernaut Jones. I mean, he's got really good star quality. He's got a relaxed personality, but he is fame hungry. Put him on the short list. Holder tag. A little bit lacking, to be honest. LA Star, he looks really good, but he's also irrepressible. Interesting. We could get both of them in. They are both really, really good. And of course, they are a tag team as well. I mean, Logan would be another really good one to get in, but again, similar with the other guys. I mean, he's only 40 per show. He might be worth getting in, even if he is a negative influence. So let's go for Logan. Of course, I had him in my Road to Glory back on 2016. He's got the loner personality. Not too sure if Manny Alvarez would be a great pickup. Interesting. I mean, maybe Marco would be... He's got a quiet personality. Probably a better option. Yeah, let's go for Marco Gonzalez. Only 19 years old. Really has a nice look about him as well. Good star quality. And he's from Puerto Rico as well. Alright. I mean, Original Sinner would be good. Of course, he's the son of Primal Rage. I do like him. I feel like he could be a really good muscle man for a possible stable in the future. So let's get him in as well. It's going to be relatively cheap, only $20 per appearance. Papa Swole would be another pretty good option, but he does have an irrepressible personality. People person for Pepper Pelton. I do like Pepper, so let's get Pepper in. Got a positive outlook on things as well. Gonna be nice and cheap. Again, only 20 years old for Pepper. We got Perry Longstaff, who has the party animal personality. I do like him, but I don't think we'll bring him in. We got Jack Pride, who's got a lively personality. And of course, he's got a business mindset there as well. Like I said, he is one of the guys that I really want to get in. I feel like he could be a really big star in the future for us. He's only going to be 20 as well per appearance, so there he is. I mean, we don't want to go too crazy with the amount of workers we're getting in. I mean, Sandman Winks would be another solid option. Professional. We'll shortlist him because he does work for Mid-Atlantic Wrestling at the moment. I'm wondering if Sione Takatoika would be a decent option there as well. We've got another people person here in Supermassive Destroyer. I kind of prefer his other name, Eddie the Beast Braddock. I think we'll shortlist him because he could be another option if we do need to improve. There's Taylor Norton, so he's got a wild personality. And of course, he's the tag team partner for Brett Kyle, the guy we looked at first. I mean, the Masked Mauler, what is that, 7? Got a professional personality here as well. Looks pretty good. Looks very solid in the ring. I kind of like him as well. We'll shortlist him. I might bring him in. How much is he going to be? 30? What about US Ace? Also professional. And that's essentially everybody. So how many workers are we getting in? Let's have a look. So that's what? 3, 6 plus Americana plus Camicazi. Should I get rid of Camicazi? I think we'll keep him for now. We can always get rid of him if the locker room morale is still relatively low. So let's advance maybe 5 days and see if the contracts actually get in. But I think a lot of those sort of young signings, obviously we are trying to still sort out the financial side of things. They should all be relatively good. But again, you know, we're paying travel cover for each of those guys that we're signing. So it essentially could turn bad. It could go pretty ugly. depending on how much the actual travel costs are per show. Alright, so let's essentially complete all of these. That's nice and easy. And we essentially have a brand new roster, for the most part anyway. Now again, Gregory Chapman. We might look at another referee. I would prefer... So I want a referee. I mean, the age doesn't matter. The gender doesn't matter as well. And let's try and look for someone based in our regions. So Ontario. All right, how good is this guy? He's actually pretty good. How much is he going to cost? 60 per show. Let's get him in. Let's get him in. A little bit more expensive than the other referee, but obviously he doesn't have any morale issues at the moment. And unfortunately for us, Gregory does. Let me advance maybe 4 days. We'll unfortunately have to fire Gregory through sort of no fault of his own. But I want to boost that backstage locker room rating up. We definitely have to keep a close eye on that. It can't be like it was before, because like I said, it spiraled out of control, and I kind of knew it was, but I just didn't do anything about it. And that's, 100% my fault. Alright, so let us get rid of Gregory. Sorry, Greg, but, unfortunately... Oh, travel is paid for as part of the contract, so I was paying him for travel anyway. That's annoying. Anyway, doesn't matter too much. Let's have a look at the backstage now. It's only 46. That doesn't fill me with a lot of happiness, to be honest. I do like the relation between Diaz and Wolfsbane. Yeah, I mean, we want our backstage to realistically be at about 70. That's sort of the minimum you want. Anything lower than that, and you do get penalties. But at least where it is now, hopefully nobody else will be getting upset. And as you can see, there isn't actually any proper, negative influences. Everybody essentially has a mildly positive influence, which is really good to see. There we go. Alright. Let's get into our next show. Also worth mentioning that most of our roster is American. That's a little bit unfortunate. But again, once we can hire more workers, I'm gonna definitely go in for some Canadian wrestlers because, we are a Canadian company. It's in the name of the title. And we want to be, pushing Canadian talent as well. At the same time, we're not going to be focused on doing that. The best workers, or the workers that I deem to be improving, or, our top level guys, will be the ones that are pushed no matter what their sort of nationality is. Just so we're clear, but I would like to get at least some Canadians for our main event scene, and maybe a couple for the mid-card scene as well. It's obviously going to be something we have to worry about once we do gain enough popularity to be financially sustainable, which is essentially the only thing that I'm going to be harping on about, hopefully, for the foreseeable future of most of these, upcoming episodes. Hopefully the whole popularity thing is sorted out. I mean, for the most part, we've probably sorted out the other issue we were having with the backstage rating. However, we've got a backstage incident. Is it positive? It is positive. It is wrestler's court. Hopefully Marco. There we go. Small positive impact upon Marco Gonzalez. So that's perfect. Now, I feel like the ribs is going to also be pretty important. So I just need to keep ribbing people. I mean, we could do meddling and try and gain some friendships, but that always can cause problems. You know, there's a possibility that it backfires. And also, if people start to have issues with each other, sometimes cliques can be formed. And then obviously it can lead to a lot of hate towards one person. Similar thing happened on my 2016 Road to Glory, where Callie Slick was essentially hated by most of the roster, and we had to let him go. Anyway. Coalition Wrestling, what are we going to do? Let's go with... What are we going to do? I honestly have no idea. Let's go with Logan Wolfsbane, because he's extremely good, and he can take on Camicazi. We'll make that our main event. Give it 20 minutes. We're going to give Logan the victory. I'm not sure. Can we call the match? Probably not. 61 psychology, I don't think is good enough. And yeah, 59 is definitely not good enough. But I do see Logan sort of being the at least one of our main eventers from the get-go, pretty much. Our next match, let's go with Original Sinner, and he can take on James Diaz. Again, you know, these matches are going to be really bad. Most of these guys have, you know, non-existent popularity in Ontario. So, you know, they're not going to be great. But a lot of them do have, you know, a little bit of talent about them. So there should be some relatively good performances out there anyway. Let's go for Marco to get a victory here on his debut as well. And that should be pretty good. Okay. Make this our storytelling match. Of course, both sons of former talented wrestlers. And I guess for our main event, can Logan do a promo? Yes, he definitely can. Okay. Also, should probably finish off the rest of my booking here. I just noticed I didn't do that. There we go. Alright. So let's do a Logan angle. We also need to fix up the storylines here as well. Let's do him and Camicazi. Advance the title challenger storyline. And then what we'll do is we'll go into storylines, and we essentially need to add everybody in here. It might be worth just removing this one. Because essentially we don't need it right now. We'll just add literally everybody into this storyline. Purely for the fact that we only need one storyline to be achieving, you know, 15 or over in heat. So we get everybody in here. No matter what happens, each show, our storyline will be advanced. So nice little workaround there. Now I'm wondering, do we want, or can we give an angle to either of these two? Pepper. Yeah, Pepper can do an angle pretty well. Okay, so let's just give Pepper an angle by himself. And that'll kick us off. So that looks pretty good. Storytelling match? Yes. Alright. Let's run our first new show with our new roster. Alright, so we start off with a 26 rated angle from Pepper Pelton, one of our newest signings. Unfortunately, got an initial rating of poor for his virtuous babyface gimmick. He improvised well, but that's a pretty bad gimmick rating for him. I mean, apparently it's going to rise as the fans get used to it, but yeah, not too good for a sort of debut. And that's a pretty bad match. We get an 18 rated match where we have Marco Gonzalez defeating Pepper Pelton in 11:45 by pinfall with a DDT. We got Marco debuting his swaggering heel gimmick. Initial rating of very good for him, so that's beneficial. I'm happy with that. We then go into a oh my god, both of them. 21 rated match between James Diaz and he does defeat Original Sinner in 11:36 by pinfall with an Asian thumb spike. Yeah, Sinner only getting a 10 match rating. That's pretty low. And he gets a poor rating for his gimmick. And then, yeah, James Diaz also getting poor. Okay, that's an interesting gimmick. Disciple of Evil. Gives a large boost to microphone skill during angles. Interesting. We then go into a 38 rated angle where we have Logan Wolfsbane cutting a promo on his opponent, Camicazi, for tonight. And he clearly enjoyed having the freedom to go off script. And his glorious one gimmick gets an initial rating of great. Unfortunately, gives a small penalty to the microphone skill. Yeah, very interesting there. That the swagger gimmick actually goes negative. The match itself gets a 41, so that's kind of what we needed to get. And we have Logan Wolfsbane defeating Camicazi in 20 minutes, 12 seconds by submission with a Boston Crab. We also had Camicazi off his game, so yeah, I mean, that's a pretty good match, a 41. And our overall show rating getting us a 34 there. And it does increase our popularity in the Ontario region as well. So let's go for Logan. Let's go for Camicazi, obviously, because we need to try and get rid of his morale issues. And then who else? Let's go for... let's go for Marco. We might give Marco some encouragement, so let's do that. Alright. That wasn't actually a bad first show, considering we're literally starting from scratch almost. Let's have a look. What are the travel... I guess it's maybe just included in worker costs. But so far that seems to be relatively low, so... maybe I should have assigned who I wanted to begin with. Okay. Interesting. We might actually be close to making money from now on. We'll have to wait and see. Also, need to fix our... That's on Wednesday, so we need to... Well, realistically, we want to be changing that to... I guess we can keep it on Wednesdays. Yeah, Wednesdays is fine. At least that way we're still going head-to-head with CWA in some sort of fashion, I guess. Not that it matters at the moment anyway, because we are such a minute... we're a little speck on CWA's radar. A tiny little speck of dust, I would say. I mean, they have their own problems at the moment. Some of you guys mentioned in the previous, or the early episodes of the series that they are, potentially battling some big financial problems. They didn't start with a lot of money in the game, and of course they have a very big roster with some expensive guys on there as well. It'll be interesting. I think they have already started losing money, so... yeah, I mean, his Primal Rage, and of course we have his son. So we could essentially bring him in to link up as his son's manager. Of course, Original Sinner. It would be an interesting thing. Give him a little bit more of something to do possibly in the future. Alright, I'm wondering if we finally gotten up to 8 popularity. Like I said, once we get up to about 15, I think I want to be changing the ticket price. Try and get some money in, and then we might go back to the free tickets. Once we, are back in the black and out of the red. I'll be very interested to see how much we can actually make once we do get up to about 15. And of course, we will be relatively close to going up in size as well. I think it's 17 popularity. All right, a lot of processing going on here. All right. Let's see. I mean, it looks like we're actually making money. Yeah, we're actually up $818 so far this month. And that is, of course, without the extra show. Well, the extra 2 shows, I should say. And, wow, we're up to 9. We're up to 9 popularity after that one show. I'm assuming we were at maybe like 7.9. Because there are still decimal points in the game. But I don't think you can see them anymore from the editor. So it's a little bit of a downside. A little bit of a downside, but yeah, very interesting. We also have an absent worker, so okay, so both Americana Jr. and Camicazi are going to be missing tonight. That's not great. But, I mean, it should be fine, in theory. We do have Logan, and Logan is very, very good. But I'm kind of wondering, who do we want to put him up against in the main event? Maybe Diaz. Yeah, let's go Diaz taking on Logan Wolfsbane. I mean, they're both bald, so could be pretty interesting. Also worth mentioning that a lot of our roster members now do have a lot of menace, so that could be something we also use to potentially get them over as well. Don't want to overbook. I want a slow build, decisive win. There we go. Next match, let's give Primetime Jack Pride a match. And I guess he can take on... Yeah, let's go Pepper. We'll give this match 10 minutes because the fans saw a little bit too much of Pepper last time. And we'll make it decisive there as well. Primetime Jack Pride making his debut. And then finally, it's going to be Marco Gonzalez taking on Original Sinner for our last match. Now, does Sinner have good stamina? Yeah, I mean, it's relatively good. And I think for this one, we'll give Marco the victory again. Just because Sinner is a little bit lacking in his psychology and his basics, so he's going to need some work. And obviously, I mean, the gimmick we could go with him is the fact that he's kind of losing all of his matches, and then we have his father, Primal Rage, come in and, you know, he could then maybe go on a bit of a decent run. Hopefully by then, you know, he'll be somewhat good. So let's go with Logan. Give that 8 minutes. That should be fine by himself. And then I think I want to give Jack Pride. Primetime Jack Pride. Give him an angle as well. And I guess we'll make that the storytelling match. And then we'll also go with a work the crowd match for this one. Hopefully just to boost up the match rating by like 1 or 2 points. And I think we're good. Although a lot of people are being overused. Interesting. I wonder if we take that down to 6 and then we take this down to 8. What does that do for us? Yeah, slightly overused. That's fine. All right, perfect. Let's run the show. All right, so we start off with a 21 rated match where we have Marco Gonzalez defeating Original Sinner in 12-14 by submission with a Latino crab. Lots of Boston crabs, especially with our last roster as well. Anyway, we got Marco Gonzalez, seemed off his game in this one. But, you know, he did much better. Original Sinner did better compared to his last performance as well. But yeah, Gonzalez with a 20 off his game as well. So he can definitely do better. And he does seem like one of the sort of better members of our roster at the moment. We then go into a 30 rated angle We got Primetime Jack Pride debuting his Primetime gimmick, getting an initial rating of adequate, so that's okay. It's not too bad. Also enjoying the freedom to go off script, and he performed well. And as far as his gimmick, it's a very marketable gimmick. Will sell a lot more merchandise than usual. It also gives a small star quality boost during matches and angles. So that looks pretty good. I like that. But it does, again, give the penalty to the microphone skill. So bit of a caveat and a little bit of a negative there. But, I mean, he's really good at, he's got good entertainment skills, so it shouldn't affect it too much. He's not very good in the ring, though, and we get an 11 match rating, putting two real, green workers. Let's be kind and say green. They're pretty terrible. But we do have Primetime Jack Pride defeating Pepper Pelton in 8:04 by pinfall with a Pride fall. And yeah, Jack Pride with a 9 in-ring performance, even lower than original Sinner. And Pepper with a 14. And apparently the bout dragged in the middle with a lack of flow, probably because of their psychology. Both have very, very low psychology. Alright, we then go into a 41 rated angle for Logan Wolfsbane. He also struggled going off script, so I'm assuming his angles are going to be pretty good, especially once he gets a little bit more popularity. I think he's only at about 20 in Ontario at the moment. And that's a really solid main event. We get a 43, which is sort of unexpected from two really new workers. And we have Logan Wolfsbane defeating James Diaz in 20 minutes, 28 seconds by submission with a Boston Crab. And Logan Wolfsbane and James Diaz have great chemistry, and it showed in their performance. And we also have Logan getting better at his gimmick. So lots of positives there, and a very, very solid main event. Alright, we finished the show, and once again, we do not get any popularity changes. I'm assuming we might have already maxed out our popularity for the month. We'll do this last one, and I might change it down to 2 monthly events. Because it does look like we're maxing out. And of course, we went essentially from a 7 up to a 9 from that one show, from our last show. So, yeah, interesting. Let's go for Primetime Jack Pride there as well. And let's go for James Diaz. So let's praise you, encourage you, and praise you. Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting one. This whole popularity increase thing, obviously it wasn't an issue at all back on 2016. And it's really causing me to have to think about things a little bit differently. Anyway, let's do one more show for the episode. We're only at about 49 minutes, so let me get into this next one. And we'll suss it out together. We'll get through it, see if we get the popularity increase. If we don't, like I said, we'll go back down to 2 shows. But if we for some reason go down to 1 show per month, then there is a very high chance that we'll probably be making money every month. Now that might be the play. If we're maxing the popularity, it doesn't make any sense for us to be running more shows than we need to, because we will just be going further into debt, or essentially making less profit than we could be. So, obviously it's a big test now to see if we get any popularity for this show. I'm kind of expecting that we won't, because we're still in June. And then what we'll do is we'll do both, because we're going into July, which is the Warzone pay-per-views. Obviously we have day 1, day 2. So essentially what we can do is just do both of those, make our other sort of monthly events dormant, and then see what happens for that month, essentially. That's what we're going to do next episode. But I do want to get through this final pay-per-view on this show anyway. At least, we are doing more shows than we need to. That's obvious. But at the same time, our workers are going to benefit from that as well. So we don't really have to worry about it too much. And yeah, hopefully our boys, Camicazi and Americana, are going to be back for this show, because I would like to do a title match. But Camicazi is not going to be here. Okay, so that's perfect. Hopefully this is not a negative... Okay, perfect. Wrestlers caught. And the incident has a small positive impact upon Primetime Jack Pride. So that's perfect. Thank you. We're actually getting positive, positive backstage incidents, which I love. And there we go. Backstage rating. It's starting to go up. We're up to a 57%, which was, what, 40, 46 or something like that when we re-signed our new roster. Okay, so the main event. We are indeed going to do Americana taking on Logan. 20-minute match, the CWC World title on the line. And I'm really expecting this one to be a good one. It should be a really solid main event. It kind of sucks that we won't actually get any popularity increase from it. But we will most likely come back to it in the future. Now, as far as our other matches, let's go with... I want to do something a little bit different. So let's exclude already booked, and then let's go with Marco and Original Sinner. Actually, we'll go Marco and James. Give that 12 minutes. I think we'll give James the victory here because he did take a loss in the last one. On the last show. In that main event. It was a good loss for him, to be honest, but... Yeah, so what I want to do... is... I want to do a handicap match. And we'll do Original Sinner taking on Primetime Jack Pride and Pepper Pelton. We'll go... I guess we'll go 10 minutes. We could maybe go 8. Potentially. Yeah, I mean, their popularity really hasn't grown too much from these really bad matches. But I kind of want to put these two together as a tag team, so I'm kind of hoping they have good chemistry. So let's do 8 minutes. We'll give the victory to Pepper. It's going to be a bad match, no matter what, because of the people involved. But we'll do our angles here as well. So, obviously for the main event, we're going to do Logan and Americana. Let's do both unscripted. Actually, let's script them both and see what happens first. See what they get scripted, and then we might do... When we do the match again, we'll do unscripted to see if there's any sort of, difference. We'll do these two guys here as well. I think we'll leave them unscripted as well. They're only going to have 6 minutes together. But that should be fine. This match here can be the storytelling match. And that looks pretty good. I feel so much happier with this roster now. I can't even put it into words. Anyway, let's run the show. And we start off with a 29 for possibly our newest, or our first ever tag team, really, which is Jack Pride and Pepper Pelton. And they cut a promo together saying that they're, linking up tonight to take on Original Sinner in a handicap match. And yeah, they both actually did pretty well without script. So very happy about that. They've both got relatively good entertainment stats. So I think that's going to help them. Because both of their wrestling abilities is pretty bad. They need a lot of work in the ring. It's not a great match. Oh, there goes everything. There goes everything. We get a 14, and we have Primetime Jack Pride and Pepper Pelton defeating Original Sinner in a handicap match in 8:13, when Pepper Pelton pinned Original Sinner with a fisherman's suplex, and they both don't work well as a team together. Negative chemistry for a team that could have been really good together. That sucks a little bit. Pepper Pelton was really off his game in this one as well. Much the lowest performer in the match, which is interesting because I expected it to be Jack Pride. But once again, the bout dragged in the middle. Bit of a lack of flow. We then go into a 25 rated match, so this is not too bad. This is sort of like our mid-card, I would say. And we have James Diaz defeating Marco Gonzalez in 11:34 by pinfall with an Asian thumb strike. Diaz with a 24, Gonzalez with a 20, so it's not too bad. Like I said, that's sort of the middle, the average that I want to be seeing. Obviously, the other guys need a lot of work. Then we go into our sort of main event scene with a 43 rated angle between Wolfsbane and Americana Jr. Of course, the title is on the line, and Logan is, well, he's essentially got all the momentum behind him that he could possibly have going into a title match. The match itself gets a 44, where we have Americana Jr. defeating Logan Wolfsbane in 20 minutes 22 seconds by pinfall with an American Crush, and Americana Jr. making defense number 1 of the CWC World title. It's a really good match, and theoretically, it should have actually been better than a 44. Let's have a look at the dirt sheet. So we've got inexperience for Americana, inconsistency, low morale, and low locker room morale, which is also a penalty there for Logan as well. And of course, a bit of a lack of heat from the associated storyline. That's not too bad though. A 44, that's solid, considering Logan's just come in, getting a 51 in-ring performance, and then we have a 47, which is pretty high considering what Americana was sort of doing before. Anyway, let's finish the show. And there we go. Show didn't result in any popularity changes. So it's looking like we can maybe get the maximum increase in popularity per month just by running one show. Obviously, we're going to run 2 shows next month just to check it. And it's essentially a 2 pay-per-view show month anyway. We get a 38 there, so that's not too bad. Again, we're going to go with Americana. This time, I think we'll go for Pepper and maybe Original Sinner. We'll give them some encouragement as well. I think they need a bit of encouragement. So there we go. Little bit of thunder there outside. It is about to storm here. Okay, so that did cost us quite a bit. Or I'm guessing what I think has happened is the travel costs have only just come in. Anyways, that's going to be the end of the episode, guys. Hopefully you have enjoyed. Make sure you smash a like on the video. And of course, remember to subscribe to the channel with the bell notifications turned on. And apart from that, guys, as always, take it easy and goodbye.